This is the Amp Hour Podcast, recorded June 30th, 2014. Episode 205, Pollent, Power, Pushing.
Welcome to the Amp Hour. I'm Dave Jones from the EEV blog.
And I'm Chris Gamble of Contextual Electronics.
Hey dude, just us again.
David, don't panic.
I expect you to use my middle name. You sound like my mother.
I don't know. I don't know your middle name. Is L? Is your middle name L?
L. That's it.
Like Homer J. Simpson?
That's
it. No.
Yeah.
The message I want to get across to you is don't panic.
Don't panic.
You know what I'm talking about?
No.
It's space related.
Oh, space related.
Space related.
You're
Hitchhiker's
going
Guide.
all corporate on me and talking the contest.
Yeah, I know. This is So it's just been so much of my life lately. But
right.
Yeah, don't panic. You know why I'm saying don't panic?
No, tell me.
Because you still got time to go to space. You know, not you. You can't go.
No, there's 34 days left. I've got the countdown timer here.
That's right. Yeah.
I think, isn't it? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
34 days left in the contest.
I spent all last week out in California doing my, as Dave says, my corporate gig. But so I've been doing a lot of this contest crap, and I wanted to tell everyone there's only 180 entries so far, and there's like
That's not
50
many.
plus prizes. So
Your odds are pretty good.
Yep, pretty good.
It's awesome. Well, like the first 50, right? You were saying get like $1,000 in components or something.
Yeah, exactly. So that's on the page right there.
What sort of components do we know, or is it not decided yet?
I'm not sure about that.
You get a buttload of Raspberry Pis and
it'll be a lot of stuff.
D25 connectors.
Yeah.
What do you...
Yeah, right. It's all 1K resistors, and you know how many you can get for $1,000.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I've got right next to me, up on the shelf here, I've got thousands and thousands, like trays. They actually come on trays. These I've got, I don't know how many trays, 50 trays or something of dual inline PCB mount 10-way pin headers, like like the shrouded. The shrouded box headers that go on a board because, I got them from they were dumping them from the previous company, so I couldn't
Such
get
a good deal. You can't pass it up.
Yeah, they were going in the dumpster. It's like, I've got to take them. I'm obligated to take them.
Yeah, I've done that
as a hobby, as an enthusiast, I'm obligated to save these components from the dumpster.
Right. I could squeeze them in somewhere, right? I mean,
and then I drove them all the way down to the Hamfest at the car boot sale I went to. Nobody wanted them there, so
couldn't
now I brought them
money.
back.
Yeah,
couldn't give them away, and now I'm stuck with bloody 5,000 freaking PCB connectors. I swear I'm going to design a project just to use
just
them.
for that. Yeah, well, that's what usually happens, right?
Yeah. Exactly. But you can't give these things away. It's just
surplus is weird like that too, though, right? I mean, surplus electronics are always like, there's always that one thing that no one knows why it's really being sold. Like it's not like
right.
There's not a need for it, else it would be sold right away.
Yeah. Well, no, like I can give them away. I think I tweeted it or something. I mentioned this somewhere else, and everyone goes, "Oh yeah, I'll have a tray," and it's like going, "Yeah, right," and I'll pay for the postage. Yeah, right. I'm going to go to all the trouble to split these things up into 50 different trays and post them to 50 different people just to make no profit. Like, no, I'm sorry. If you physically come to my lab here, you can have them.
There you go.
It's
a reason to go knock on the EEV blog lab door if you can find it.
That's it. That's right. Yep, hidden in the corporate towers. Somewhere in Norwest.
That's right. Nice.
Yep. There's only about 1,000 office buildings here, so go for your life. But I can't give the bloody things away. Anyway, so do we know? Back on track. Do we know what you get? Because the top 50. I mean, your chances of getting in the top 50 are pretty darn good.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, I figure our audience too. It doesn't have to be the awesomest, right? I mean, like the awesomest will get the 200K or the space thing, but like,
of course,
there's going to be a lot of, there's a lot of room in there, and I think a lot of our audience
just
too.
doing good documentation will probably push you into the top
Exactly.
50, right? Because most people just won't bother. Right, so probably, there's a little tip for you.
Yeah.
I reckon if you got some kick-ass documentation behind it, it probably doesn't matter what your project is. You might certainly squeeze into that top 50 and win $1,000.
That was a huge difference for the 555. I mean, you looked at a lot of those entries as well. I mean, like that was
absolutely.
If you can like get your message across quickly, and like you could show what your project does, and it actually has some kind of output and some kind of interaction. Yeah, you're ahead 90% of the pack, I think. So
exactly. And if you do a good video, not something shot on your cell phone that's all wobbly and out of focus, and your audio is awful because
or you're not talking at all, right?
Or you're not talking at all.
Right.
They're just so painful to watch those videos. I've been involved in several contests now, and it's
right,
like
that makes a big. It doesn't have to be flashy. It just has to be consistent and.
Exactly, it has to be a minute long. I mean, if you can't speak for a minute about your own project that you're enthusiastic about, then really you probably shouldn't be in the business. Like seriously, you aren't going to get very far if you can't do that.
Right, and if you think you can't do it, it's worth trying to get some practice too. I mean, that's good.
Exactly,
that's good job practice too. You gotta be able to
absolutely
argue your point with a crazy Aussie once a week, right? I mean,
that's it.
It's tough.
That's a vital skill. I mean, if you can't communicate in this business, you're not going to get very far.
Right.
Maybe it's not a hard and fast rule. Like some of the best engineers I know cannot
talk their way out of a paper bag.
They can't communicate for shit, right? But they're fantastic. They'll beaver away in the corner and they'll produce absolute black magic, right? But no, it's a vital skill. So if you don't have it, learn.
Yeah, Einstein knew how to speak, right? I mean, like he was brilliant, but he also knew how to like get his ideas out, and that's important. It sucks sometimes, right? That blows, but it does. It does matter sometimes. And then the other thing is the connected thing, right? So I got the Imp guys were nice enough to send me one, right? I was on I had a thing talking to the internet. I had a blinky LED in about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes.
Right. Well, look, what just popped up on my Twitter feed when I got to the office here is they've set up some EEV blog Imp demo, and it keeps tweeting me the temperature. Presumably in their office. It's got like, hey, EEV blog, looks like it's 23 degrees right now. Well, 23 degrees where? In your office? Well, thanks for that.
Damn it, guys, we need some contextual information too. Put a GPS signal on it or something.
Or a photo that attaches a photo with it. Have you got a camera that hooks up and it takes a little, even if it's only 320 by 240 photo or something? Can you?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, but
goodness.
So those things were great. It was, I mean, it was what, like 10 minutes, and I got I was even able to go from there, turn it off, turn it on, to actually implement PWM and get different levels and have it so that it was, how they were talking about each device has its own like web address. Yep. It's like basically you just like append a query on the back, so it's just like LED equals 0, LED equals 1.
Oh, and then you turn it on.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can toggle the LED via the web command line.
Right, which you could probably map to like a button on a website. That's
URL.
the idea.
Oh, of course. Yeah, totally.
And it goes the other direction too. That's that's the part I haven't tried out yet. But the
inputs. So you can poll the inputs. Right.
You push a button on the imp and it says, "Hey, someone pushed a button."
Cool.
Turn on something, which would be like that button you have for your cough button now, right? That's just wired, but same kind of thing, So you could do that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, so the connected part's not easy. One. Yeah, or not hard rather.
No, they didn't send me one.
I think they did. I think it's in the mail, Dave.
Ah, right. Okay, it'll turn up in the mailbag, will it?
Oh no, you probably deleted the email. That's probably what it was.
All right. Yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah, you're supposed to give it an address. Yeah, we were talking about this before the show. How Dave has bankruptcy. He has email bankruptcy.
I did the Great Purge of 2014. I went through and I think I tweeted this at the time a week ago or so ago or something. I went through. I had like over 1,000 unread. I don't know. It might have been a couple of thousand, 2,000 unread emails in my Gmail box because I use the Google Mail platform.
Yeah, right.
So that my mail is accessible any computer I use. That's the main reason I like it.
Yeah.
I know there's people out there who hate Google, but I just been
you're
using it for
trading
many years
privacy
now.
for accessibility, right?
Yeah, exactly. Privacy's overrated. Anyway, I just went, this is ridiculous, because I've got like a priority inbox where, Google learns, it's intelligent. It learns which ones are important to
It
you.
says
And
Chris
they
emailed you, definitely pay attention to this. And,
yeah, exactly.
and swear
Like
at him.
if you email me, I'm going to get it every time. But if, somebody else emails me, it may not, it may filter right down or something.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, I went through and I went, well, look, anything over 3 months is probably not worth replying to. Sorry.
If you're waiting for an email from Dave, you're probably not going to get it at this point.
Yeah, and I went through and it took me hours and hours to go through. Because I didn't just didn't do highlight all and, just delete them all. I scanned through them.
Right.
So to speak. And once you get in the habit of scanning through them, you get to learn, just at a glance, you can go through and go, oh, no, that's worthless.
Right.
Or whatever. And yep.
Yeah, this came up. I mentioned this to Dave too because there was a podcast about some guy that had like 9,000 or 10,000 emails, and they how you have to go through and do that, right? And it's not just like someone at Dave's level or more famous. It's like a lot of people, when you start getting regular emails, they just kind of pile up, and I think once you kind of lose track, when you lose track of a couple of them, you start to really. Sucks.
That's my problem, you see, because Gmail, you can read the first line, you have your whole list of emails. This is probably the same in any email program, and you can read the first line without opening the email, right? So you get a gist, who it's from if you recognize their name, or you can read the first sentence, and just from that, I can go, oh, okay, that's important. So often I'll put a star next to it. If I know it's important, but I don't want to read it yet, then I'll put a star next to it and goes in my star folder or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, it sits there and I go, oh, I won't open it now because if I open it now and read it, I don't have time to reply now. And then it won't show up as an unread email anymore. So I'll definitely forget about it. So if I don't touch it, at least it stands a chance because it's highlighted as unread. So at least stands a chance of getting read later.
Yeah.
And I have the intention to go back. But often there's just so many of them. Oh, yeah, I'll reply later. And, 2,000 emails later.
I started using an Aussie-themed thing for that too, where you it's called Boomerang, where you say, send this back to me in 2 days. And that's nice.
Interesting.
But then you get the same loop. You keep sending it. I don't know,
of course.
A lot of this stuff where it's like productivity type stuff. I always I send myself reminders when I have meetings and stuff like that. But I feel like what I really need to do is to basically hook it up to a speaker in my house and have an announcement "Ding, Chris, you have a meeting starting in 5 minutes. Get off the can." Something like that. I need something more real world that it's just so hard with just a screen. These days it's you normalize to it so quickly. Every you just need ways. You need a computer to surprise you basically. And you'd be like, oh wait, what the hell was that? I don't know. I've always had trouble with that.
My problem is just working on a project, for example. I've got to sort of be in the mood to do it.
Right.
It's the same with email. I've got to be in the mood to sit down and go through my emails and actually reply, not just read them, right? But actually reply to them. And that's why I go, look, I won't open that email because I know I don't have time now.
Right.
To actually reply. And I don't want to read it and then realise I've got to reply and then not have time. That makes me feel bad. So I just leave it unread. And this happens with really important emails too. Ones that I know I really, really have to reply to. It's important. And I just don't because I don't open it.
Right.
And,
I don't know, man. I feel like this is it's a stupid
it's a
modern,
psychological, mental thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Well, I was thinking about it too when I was listening to that other podcast about the mail thing. I was like thinking about when mail used to be like a physical item as well, right? Like there's something about that. When it starts to pile up, you could start to really see. It's so easy these days to just, ignore the stimulus we develop for ourselves, like I don't know, like maybe we should start shocking ourselves. I think there was something like that where you can like apply a shock if you
haptic feedback, right?
Well, I wasn't saying haptic. This is more like like hectic feedback. I don't know. I don't know. Like that feels like. But then at the same time, like all these systems, like I was thinking about this too when I was like back in school and studying for stuff too. It's like when it's like, oh, you turn your internet access off, or you set all these crazy reminders. It's like when you do it, like you know how to bypass the system at that point. So what's the real?
Yeah.
It's like it's like you need like a friend who is willing to torture you. So Dave, if you need me to shock the crap out of you with some kind of remote device, I'm your man.
Great, you can remotely shock me.
Yeah.
From the other side of the world. Yeah.
With an electric imp, it's just a web address away.
Right. This goes back to the same thing we've talked about working on your own projects, getting motivation to work on your own projects. It's different at work because you've got somebody whipping your ass.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of like service where you could. I mean, as the more I talk about it, this sounds like you're like hiring a dominatrix almost at a certain point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
Not to go there, but it does sound like that. It's like you're basically hiring someone to punish you for. But you need some kind of extrinsic motivation at a certain point. But I don't know, man.
It's tough. Anyway, I'm thinking about setting up deliberately getting people to email me with a specific subject header. Like if it's a fan email, I love reading fan email, but if it's a fan email, I'm thinking about having a link on my website here. Click here and it adds the word fan to the title.
Ooh,
and then I can get Gmail to automatically sort that into a different folder. So I can go, right, I'm going to sit down for an hour and I'm going to read my fan mail.
Yeah, that's good.
Or I've already got advertising come in. So like if it's an advertiser, it's, it automatically gets flagged and then it goes into a different folder and
right.
stuff like that. And,
right into the bin, right?
I'm going to have to do that, something with a technical question. Yes, I can auto-respond. I can put in the auto-responder.
Forum.
I hate doing that.
Forum.
Yeah.
Forum.
I hate doing that. Yeah, I know. Here's the forum. Yeah, but I've been doing that for a long time now, quite a while, in that if you send me a technical question, sorry, I've got little choice but to send you I have a canned response that I just hit a button in Gmail and it sends you a canned response saying,
you got to do it, right? I mean, like...
Yeah, I know. I've got to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
when your videos get viewed 45,000 times a day, every day, like...
Right.
You're going to get a lot of email and messages and stuff like that. So... But I do my best, I think, as a content producer to actually respond to, especially YouTube messages and forum messages and stuff like that.
Well, we know you're a forum rat, right? I mean, we know that you're on there all the time. So.
Yeah, I'm a forum nerd.
But that's even a better reason to say, go to the forum because you're probably going to get to that first. So
Exactly. Yeah. Because, it's all about value of time spent. If I spend... look, even a basic email is going to take me 10, 15 minutes to respond in any sort of depth, minimum.
Right.
And if I have to do some research, look stuff up or something, just to, make sure I've got it right, then, it's not unusual. Like, I've spent like an hour or two sometimes actually responding to a person's personal email.
Eesh.
But that's an hour or two that only helps that one person, right? Whereas if it's on the forum, it could potentially help, countless people who go looking for the same answer.
Yeah.
So,
the
tough business.
The vagaries of the internet, right? If that's the right word.
Yeah, and internet stardom.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
right.
There are a lot of content producers who just refuse to, they just don't respond to any YouTube comments. They don't respond to any emails at all.
Right.
And I try to be the total opposite to that.
Yeah.
So here's a tip, by the way. If you want me to respond to your YouTube comment, best to do it like on the same day that I upload the video.
Right.
Because like do it straight away. Because then if I upload a new video, I'm quite excited. I want to read what people have to say about my latest video. Especially if I got something wrong or I'm really like as soon as I upload it, my fear is always that I've goofed something. And sure enough, in 5 minutes, somebody's going to tell me that I've goofed something up, and then I can either fix it with an annotation or, in the worst case, actually delete it and re-upload. But that rarely happens. But
right.
Yeah. So, if you want me to read and respond to my YouTube comment, do it in the first day. Otherwise, it sort of drops off the list.
Right.
It sort of drops off the... Yeah.
So what about your solar roadways? Did you get some blowback on that or no?
A little bit, but mostly huge praise. I mean, it's gotten like, 80,000 views or something now. So it's really popular. And I'm like... number 2 on YouTube if you type in solar roadways, so I'm like just behind their official, solar freaking roadways
Point
video.
And counterpoint,
yeah. I've really, there I am, number 2, no, 3rd actually. But I've had mostly huge positive feedback thanking me for debunking that bullshit.
Yeah.
Mostly. But, I'll tell you what, the people who are supporters are religious, like support. It's like a religion. It really is. Nothing will sway them, and they play the victim. They're the victim. I'm just stopping progress. I'm like stifling progress, just like, And if another one of them tries to make the comparison with horseless carriages or Edison inventing the light bulb or something like that, I'm just gonna I'm gonna lose it. I really am. You can't talk sense into these people. They try and like as if any idea. This is the mistake they make, is that every idea has an equal chance of success if you just give it a chance. Right, and no, I'm sorry. Okay, this is the world of engineering, right? This is a massive. This solar roadways thing is a massive systems project engineering thing, right? This is aside from the fact of actual feasibility from using it as a road service, right? But just using it as a huge connected solar grid thing, it's just and you can do the calculations on it.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I mean,
I'm on board. Yeah, we talked about that. What, like 4 or 5 weeks ago now? I mean,
Yep.
And I mean, I'm on board, man.
At the time, I had only just heard of it like 5 minutes before we went to air.
Right.
Then, and I sort of went, okay, it's a novel idea. I think I did anyway. It's a novel idea, but I can't see how it's going to work cost-wise or whatever. Right. That was the first thing I thought. That's just,
Right, we want it to work, right? It's like,
of course, we want it to work. It's cool,
it
right?
Feels great. Yeah, no, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well.
And those guys are nasty too. They are deleting all negative or questioning comments.
Really?
From both their Indiegogo page and also their Facebook page, and I believe even their YouTube videos or something like that. But definitely their Facebook and Indiegogo. Yep. Anyone questions anything in the mildest way, delete.
Yeah.
And they're Johnny on the spot. Like it'll last there 5 minutes apparently, and it's gone. So
North Korea and China are going to try and hire him away.
So that tells you a lot right there,
Yeah.
And can I continue with this, or are we done with solar roadways?
Well, I was going to go a little more positive. I was going to go a little more positive about solar.
Well, okay. Well, can I get the negative out of the way then?
Get the negative out of the way. Yeah. Well, you
right.
only give negative feedback.
That's right. I mean, this. Like as I said, I want it to work, right? But you go through the calculations as an engineer and you just go, no. And this was going to be like, and I went through quite a few things, like, and I came up with 5 major things. Like I was, I had to limit myself because my video was originally going to be the top 5 reasons why solar roadways are bullshit, and I was going to do like a separate thing on each one, you know. But in the end, I only did the video. I only ended up doing the video on just the solar, you know, just the payback, just how much energy will it produce, and right there it was busted. But there's probably half a dozen or a dozen, at least, different showstoppers that make this project completely unviable. It's just wow, you know.
Yeah,
I could do another half dozen videos with calculations showing how it's just simply not feasible in many different ways. And
right. Well, as we said on the show last time, I think they should start with solar driveways, right? That's the way to start. If you're going to do anything, solar driveways, and from there, see if that works. Yeah, yeah. Start
look, it's got a niche, right? It's probably got, like, as I said in the video, I do like the engineering. Well, apart from their lack of calculations and testing and all that sort of stuff, right? You know, if you look at these things, they're really funky. Right, and I do like all the effort that they've put into actually manufacturing these hexagon tiles, and you know, the whole concrete pit and how they install it. You know, they've done a really good job from that point of view, and there's probably a niche somewhere if they're smart enough to exploit it, rather than push this solar roadways, because it's just not going to work. They're just going to.
Well, I think the thing too with this kind of stuff, I mean, you look at like R&D organizations too. Like a lot of times, if you're going to do real research, right? Say that they were going to get it eventually. Sometimes you do have to lock yourself away and just go try it a bunch and then see if anything pops out. You know, if you know if they are going to do it, they shouldn't listen to you. They shouldn't listen to anyone else, and they should just go try it. But you know, failure is a component of research, right? And if that's the case. Yeah, that's fine, right? And then you get to say... they believe in this thing so much that they simply... I mean, they've been working on this for 5 years and they don't have a single test result of the solar output or trying to stop a car on this thing. I mean, like the 2 main things this thing must do, and they haven't tested it. Yeah.
What does that tell you, right? They've put all this massive engineering into doing the PCBs and the multicoloured RGB lights and the networking protocol to drive it all, and it looks great, but, you know, I mean...
Well, yeah, it's like any project, right? You could be heads down and focus on what you think's important, and then you get to the real market. I mean, that's why you got to test early, right? When we had Eric on the show, right? He talks about
fail early.
Yeah,
right?
fail early, often, right?
Fail early, fail fast is the startup mantra now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's tough when there's scale stuff like that too, right? Because sometimes you do have to build it out, but the key is to try and find tests that are representative. You know. Build it without build the road without the PCB underneath, right? Build the the panels without the glass over top. Yeah. You're right. I mean, Dave. This horse is well and truly dead. Let's let's go get some horse burgers, man. Like,
all right.
And a bit of happiness lemonade to go along with our horse burgers.
All right.
Our buddy Elon is looking to actually do some real work with solar, and this I'm actually more interested in. So basically, Solar City, which is Elon Musk's third company because he's a badass, basically just bought out some manufacturer, and basically they're going to try and build a solar panel manufacturing site near Buffalo, New York, my hometown, using the power of Niagara Falls, where I have a picture of myself growing up sitting on who I thought was sitting in the lap of a bronze statue of who I thought was Abraham Lincoln, but actually turns out to be Nikola Tesla. And yeah, so basically they're going to try and build this huge ass solar panel factory, and that's
great.
Is ballsy as hell.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Because there's like, I mean, so we've talked about the solar panel market before, right? And you have solar panels on your house.
I do.
The prices continue to plunge, but basically this is a quality play.
Oh yeah, almost to the point where solar panels are now so cheap that that the solar panel itself is not the cost. It's the install and everything. You know, it's. Right. They're almost to the point of giving them, like, you're almost a fool if you go into the solar panel manufacturing industry now, because the margins are so low and there's such a commodity item that it's like trying to sell, passive components,
Yeah, right.
They're just so, like you wouldn't go and build a factory to manufacture capacitors because,
Ooh, a 10K resistor factory. We'll get rich.
Exactly. I know. So...
Right.
But he's not going to play that game.
Right. They're talking about quality at low cost as well. And I'm guessing, much like the Tesla factory, which I drove by out in L.A., by the way.
Well, awesome. and their new battery factory, which is going to be completely solar powered, like completely self-sufficient.
Right.
And it recycles the material and it's completely solar powered and wind powered and everything else. And, man, it's just... Wow.
Right. And the key is going to be just like the Tesla factory is probably high amounts of automation, right? That's they took advantage. We've posted the video like 3 or 4 times now, the video of the Tesla the cars getting assembled
that's great.
online.
If you haven't seen it.
Yeah, so good. And but basically it's all automated. That's basically how you remove the human cost, right? I mean, like basically that's one of the big things is that when it's mostly robots, you don't have to deal with unions, you don't have to deal with labor costs, you don't have to deal with injuries, and basically robotic factories, folks. Welcome to the future.
Well, they've been in the car industry for a long time,
Right. Well, there's varying levels.
They're like stamping out entire chassis.
Yeah. Right.
Like it's just insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that we're going to see this as well. I like it because Buffalo, Niagara Falls, I suppose, but
okay.
There's all these. Honestly, I don't. You probably maybe know this from afar, but there's just car plants littering the entire landscape here, right? Because there's compression in the entire market as well.
Empty, empty, you mean.
Right? Yeah, like ready to retrofit kind of stuff, and even still having
which is exactly what they did. They came in and bought an old Ford plant or something, did they?
Yeah, it's Ford or Chevy. I don't remember.
I don't know, something like that. Yeah.
And that's awesome. And Elon likely will win again. And I think it is interesting though. So this article talks about it as well. But they're all of this is supply chain stuff, right? I mean, like this is not about
absolutely.
This is not about. I mean, it's a manufacturing engineering problem because you have to get high quality and high yield and all that other stuff that manufacturing engineers love, which Dave knows and I know. Yep. And but it's about controlling that stuff. That's what's crazy. I mean, like when you start to crank this stuff out yourself, not only do you own the technology behind it, right? So like the battery packs, when if that's the magic sauce and you control the magic sauce, then you can give away your patents, right? I mean, like that's the key.
That's it.
And so same thing here. If you start to have better assembly methods at lower costs, you start to win over and over and over again, and then basically you can play a lot of games with accounting and like basically because you control all the money as well, you start to you really get some benefits and you don't have to worry about deliveries and all that other crap. I mean, you get to control that stuff. So it's a control freak's dream, not nightmare, dream.
He's just unbelievable, really. I mean, he's just going from strength to strength. It's great.
I don't think I'd want to work for him though. I don't know.
Oh no, he'd be a hard taskmaster, I'm sure.
Right.
It's crazy. 400 gigawatts a year.
Right.
Did you hear that? Germany, first country to hit 50% of their energy comes from solar.
Wow.
50% of their power, like it was, they just surpassed in the last quarter or something, 50.8% or something of their. That isn't on the list, but somebody tweeted it, and over 50%.
See, that's always the crazy thing for me too. And I've talked to some solar. I think I've talked to Martin about this. Martin Lorton, who lives in town here, but just talk because he's putting up a bunch of solar panels. In Cleveland, right? And it's like, oh, Cleveland, okay.
Right.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Good luck, Martin.
Good luck with that, yeah.
Welcome to town, buddy.
Would you like to install a solar roadway with that?
Right. But I mean, it's the same thing with Germany, right? I mean, like, you still do get a lot, and you're in the dead of winter now in Australia. I mean, you still get a lot of sun, I'm sure, but...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
Are you getting full output and everything? I mean, like...
Oh, no. My system will output 3 kilowatts in the peak of... summer.
Okay.
It's a 3 kilowatt system,
Okay.
So it is, and I basically get the spec of the solar panels. You know, I do actually get the system based on the data sheet is rated at 3 kilowatts, and I think I get actually slightly over that on a really good day with high solar insolation and
right. So what's on a winter day, though? Like, what's on a less...
Oh, I think it drops to like 1.5, like on a cloudless day. So it like halves, the output halves or something in the middle of winter. I can't remember off the top of my head, but the data's all there.
Yeah, that's interesting still.
People can go and have a look. Yeah, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, and we are... I've had it installed for a full year now. And we basically have exported more than we have taken from the grid.
Oh.
So just over. So we are a net energy exporter, our house, and that's minus the energy which we've used during the day as well. Because the way our solar panel works is it uses net metering, so any energy we don't use during the day is waste. You know,
it's grid balanced, right?
It's sent back to the grid.
Yeah,
but at a very cheap rate. So it's more beneficial for us to use our energy during the day. So we've changed our habits so that we turn on the washing machine during the day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just so we use the energy during the day instead of losing it back to the grid at some cheap rate. But even accounting for that, we've exported more than we've used.
Yeah,
which is great.
So I feel like I should probably finally tell people where I used to work, because this stuff is actually like quite relevant. So I used to work at ABB, working on power equipment, and it was mostly like coal and gas type stuff. But it was interesting reading a lot of stuff. You know, the ABB is big and corporate and yada yada yada. They're everywhere. They're like the GE of Europe, basically. But reading about that stuff too, you read. Because I was kind of doing coal and gas type stuff, and a lot of that stuff uses on the peak. That's really interesting going forwards, I think, because you look at someone like Dave here who has a solar panel on his house. Usually the biggest rates when they get the most money is like you want to kick on a generator when there's peak load. You basically want to do like a gas generator because those are the highest rates because it's so expensive to do that. It's not like they want to do it, but they get the most money for it. And usually that like those margins are where they make the most money because that's, I think, unregulated in the States at least. That might not be right. But I wasn't actually that far into power. I was doing the instrumentation stuff. But, that stuff, like that's where solar is really going to be disruptive actually because of that peak offloading. You think about when, it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon and the sun's at its peak it's the days that it's hottest and everybody's got their air conditioning on and you have to kick on a bunch of coal plants, you have to kick on a gas plant to, serve the demand. And now instead you have a bunch of solar panels that just immediately offload that. And that changes the entire grid, basically.
Yep.
It's awesome. And
here in Sydney, we were like our grid was pretty overloaded. Like, we were like on the verge of being in trouble because all these mansions going up. Everyone builds these big McMansion, things, right? And they're all aircon, right? They've all got,
of course, right? 5,000 square feet.
They actually. They had to actually ban inefficient air conditioners here.
Oh, really?
They had to ban. They had to ban 3-phase air conditioners for homes because they were just chewing so much power. So all these new housing developments that spring up, and every one of them's got a black freaking roof and 50 squares of not square meters but 50 squares, which is like 500 square meters or something of bloody of living space, and they people who buy these houses want their constant 23 degrees Celsius
None of these
all
units
day
are
round,
making sense for me, Dave.
Right.
It's okay, everybody. You're not alone if you're in the States. So if I'm confused too.
Yeah, all right.
I know.
And they want their constant temperature all day round, so they just leave them running 24/7.
Oh, wow.
Man, these people are just pathetic, really.
Right. And that's kicking on coal plants, right? Now, like when you have excess, you're not only feeding your stuff, you're also feeding it back to the grid as well and helping balance that
feeding
stuff.
all the nearby houses and everything else. Yeah, exactly. And and now we have over 1 million homes in Australia with solar panels on their roof, and that's like 1/10.
That's amazing.
Because we have about 10 million homes here in Australia, or something around that figure.
Yeah.
And so 1/10 of them have solar panels on their roof.
Is that because of the subsidies that everybody was getting for a while, you think?
Yeah, it started about 5 years ago. The government really gave... It was practically free to get one of these solar systems.
Sounds like a friggin' work to me, man.
Yeah. But I didn't do it at the time out of principle.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like the way they were running the scheme, and you had to give back your renewable energy certificates and all this sort of jazz, and I just didn't like it out of principle. And I diddled myself out of some money there, but anyway,
Well, you were paying premium anyways for that stuff, so for the power stuff. That's okay. You kept your principles. That's fine.
I kept my principles,
and you have it now. So that's interesting. I mean, I think that's really interesting. I wonder about that in Cleveland.
I got it now after I paid a lot more for it now because they basically stopped the existing scheme they had. So
right, but if you would wait another 2 or 3 years, I mean, I'm sure that they're just like the way that the prices are falling are insane, right? I mean,
Oh, it's crazy. But there is a big difference between your cheap panels and your... Like, I deliberately got expensive panels, like top-of-the-line LG branded ones. I got a top-of-the-line inverter, right? There's a big difference in quality between your sort of $300 inverter and your $2,000 inverter. There's a...
Right. Well, yeah, you think, like at 3
huge
kilowatts,
difference in quality.
A 1% difference is what? 30 watts consistent, right, over the
which
entire
has
time.
to heat up, I mean
that's just
and
that's
the
just
thing and the thing has to sit on the side of your house, and it gets full sun. You're supposed to mount these things not in full sun, so we deliberately mounted ours on the other side of the house, which actually doesn't get sun, so we had to run the cables all the way over there and then back. But it stays cooler and it's more efficient.
Yeah, when we had the Cree guys on, that's where a lot of those fancy silicon carbide MOSFETs and I think some of the diodes as well. A lot of those are going in there for the super efficient stuff.
Very
for the
expensive
switchers.
devices. You can pay $50 for a transistor or something.
Exactly.
If you get a really ridiculously high
right,
end
but they
one.
can run it 600 volts, and they can have milliohm drops across RDS on and stuff like that, and that's why people pay for it, and they'll also last a really long time. So that's where a lot of that stuff goes, and that's why they were so in high demand, and they continue to be really. Yep. So it's interesting. You actually I hear about that from a lot of the you talk to the International Rectifier and all those guys. It's still basically a battle. It's a balancing of cost off versus IGBTs, because those are still really good for a lot of that kind of switching stuff, and then even some of the trench FETs as well. It's basically it's all it's all a cost game. It's really interesting seeing that stuff play out, especially because there's not that many players in the silicon carbide market yet. Because
exactly.
It's so hard to do.
And this is why I like Elon's play here. He's going for quality, not just the one hung low, cheapest possible price. And I think that's going to be a big difference. People are going to want quality panels that will last 20 years. They don't want just to buy some cheap one hung low brand on eBay that, they're a quarter of the price, but
yeah, good luck, buddy.
What happens when you mount them up there in the heat and the, and the rain and the abuse and everything else? Are they going to continue to work for that length of time? So
yeah, one of my buddies actually bought some raw wafers. They're just Theon wafers off of eBay, and he tried making his own, and it was actually the mounting brackets and then the glass. That's a lot of the cost. The silicon is.
That's what I was saying before. They're just the silicon solar cells themselves are almost free.
Right.
Right.
As they get more and more, they keep trying to push up efficiencies. Obviously, I think they're 20-ish still. Course. I think.
Yeah, 22
they're not
I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, but they keep trying to push that up with these really obscure chemistries and stuff like that. But and that's going to push the cost up. But really, it's still a lot of that.
And there's all sorts of technology. There's nano graphene.
Yeah.
Things promise big things, and they're getting 40% in the lab or something like that with these nanotechnologies. But can you scale those up to production? Well, if you can't, it's pointless.
Right. So, if you can, your name's probably
Elon Musk. It has niche uses. There's always going to, these high temperature solar cells that are designed to operate at ridiculously high temperatures, and they use focused lenses to actually the hotter they get, the more efficient they become.
Oh.
And they're really useful in space. In satellites and
Space.
yes, the final frontier. These are. So they're, used in all your space probes and, stuff like the ones that don't, that have solar power backup instead of your radioisotope generators and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but, they're, used in your space applications. Can you use them here efficiently on Earth? Yeah, there's a couple of niche applications, but, they're not going to be mainstream on your, house roof, for example.
Right.
So,
yeah. So since I've been holding all this stuff in about ABB a long time. Not like bad stuff, but actually really amazing stuff that I didn't feel good talking about on the show. But actually, that's one thing. They had a thing that came out when I was still working there that I've always wanted to talk about, and it was the high voltage switching relay. I think it was, or something like that.
Right.
Basically, it allows for a switching grid now. So like one of the things they did was like the high voltage DC stuff that like blows me away. Like 800 kilovolt DC.
Oh, okay. So we're talking main transmission line
Stuff. Yeah, and like the pictures.
Switching.
The pictures are amazing because you think about the isolation you need for that stuff. Like there's like pictures.
Oh, you've got to have huge boom arms that come out and physically break
exactly.
And
So they had something that some big press release like a year ago or so. But basically allowed switching in like 20 milliseconds if there was a fault. So you think about if you have all of that current
20
flowing.
milliseconds.
Oh, it was frigging insane. Yeah, I mean, like it really was a big deal. And the idea is that we talk about AC grids. You think about so we're in a hot summer, right? And there's a brownout in Cleveland, and I short out my line. I take down the whole street somehow, right? Basically.
Right.
You have to reroute power around, and the way they do that is they basically have these, they're physical switches, right? You switch it over.
Right.
And you could do that pretty quickly with AC.
But
well, with DC...
Then you've got to have redundant lines, though. You've got to have redundant lines that go around paths to be able to switch around.
Well, for the DC or the AC?
Well, the AC. Why are we talking about DC? Have you guys got DC transmission over there?
It's actually all over the world, man. So that's the idea. So like right now, see, like the Three Gorges Dam, that huge ass dam in China,
right?
Like that, that makes an immense amount of power.
Have they actually finished? Have they finished that yet?
I don't know if it's finished, but
I saw some doc.
No, I think it is.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like gross, right? Like that's like I forget what river it is, but it's super polluted and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's finished. But the idea is basically the difference between AC transmission and DC transmission. Starts to be like 20% losses versus 66% losses. Like the high voltage DC transmission stuff is incredibly more efficient because you're at such a high voltage and you can use like thinner lines and stuff like that. All of that other stuff really starts to add up. The problem is that it's friggin' 800 kilovolts or upwards.
But then you've got losses in your conversions, whereas the AC ones are incredibly efficient.
Right.
In
it's transformer.
Actually converting.
Yeah, it's transformers instead.
In your transformer stuff.
Right.
Well, but even your AC, like don't know about in the US, but here AC transmission lines are really big ones going between major power plants. They're 500 kV.
Yeah, they. Really that high? Usually they're like 300-ish around here, I think.
Yep.
I don't remember all of the math.
Well, there's
and stuff,
two types here. I think there's 330 kV and there's 500 kV.
Okay. Yeah, there's a wiki article that I'll link in as well. But basically, it's about the high voltage DC stuff, and basically it explains all the links that are out there. And the idea is that you start to, when you start getting up into like gigawatt transmission type stuff, it really starts to matter a lot. And a lot of this stuff, the HVDC stuff, really starts to matter. And I don't remember what the switching stuff. I don't remember how that happens, but it's usually an amazingly large stack up of FETs and stuff like that. And
wow, so they actually do it at the silicon level.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff is. So
wow,
I might be talking on my butt
it'd be physically
I didn't do any of this stuff.
Right.
But that's why it was so amazing to me, right? So it was like I was in this company and I had to see this. I saw this stuff, and the idea is that everything, a DC grid, a large scale high voltage DC grid was was not possible until you had the switching element within a 20
Right.
millisecond
Yeah,
fault.
of course. Yep.
And now they have it, and it could
Right,
be that
okay.
there starts to be some really significant transmission. You think about getting, even like Niagara Falls, near where I grew up, getting over to New York City,
Yep.
right? I mean, like, you start to have large scale transmissions like that. You could really start to move some power. You think about the wind field in Texas, moving that up to over to California or over to wherever else they need. I don't know.
But the interesting thing is that they're still generating AC, but then they have to convert it to DC to transmit this thing over the long distances,
Right.
and then reconvert it back, and it all sounds very complicated to me. That's why that's why I like AC in the
Right. Yeah, it seems
in
a
the
lot
big
simpler,
transmission
right?
scheme of things. That's just massively simpler. These transformers are massively efficient, and you're generating AC anyway.
Right.
And,
Right. Well,
and you're using AC at the end. It just, to me, it just seems very inefficient to convert
it's
it to
all about
DC
the wires,
somewhere
I'm
along
pretty
the line.
sure. The actual.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So
I think they use DC for the country to country underwater stuff.
yeah, that's another one. Yeah,
Or
that's
something
another thing
like
they
that,
do.
which we basically don't have here because we don't live in Europe, right? We don't have a country next to us. We don't, we're like an island nation,
Right.
So
Right. Ain't nobody shipping you power, right?
no, that's right.
Yeah. If Australia runs out of
Yep.
power, they're done for. But I mean, seriously, you could start getting it from maybe that distance is too far, but like from
No,
China
it's too
or
far.
something like that.
No, it's too far.
I don't do geography.
It's not going to happen. No.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. We can barely do our own country, let alone
Yeah.
go to another country.
Right.
No.
Yeah, so they say, let's see, I'm looking on the wiki page right now. So a 200 kilometer plus or minus 800 kilovolts, 6.4 gigawatt link connecting the Zhangjiabe Dam to Shanghai. That's crazy.
Oh.
That's really crazy. It's just
Wow.
so much frigging power.
What sort of diameter copper are we talking about here?
Well, that's the other thing. You get to start going smaller too, right?
It isn't even copper, right? A lot of the because copper's too heavy. A lot of the transmission lines here are made out of, for you Yanks, aluminum.
Oh yeah, aluminium. I heard
Yeah.
something about that the other day. That it was
Aluminium.
that the Brits are right. Yeah, I know. That's what it was. It was.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I forget
Yeah,
what
even
the
our
reason
local
was.
street poles. I can remember as a kid scrapping, like, somebody crash into the street pole. A car would crash in and the wires would come falling down, and you used to scrap the wire, and it was, these multi-strand twisted aluminium cables. That was what
Really?
they used in the, on the regular street poles, yeah.
I heard that aluminum's bad for usually because it's a lot harder, so you can't clamp down to it as easily. That's why they don't try and use
Right,
it in
yeah,
houses and stuff like that because
All the time.
you have
No,
to retighten
that's
stuff
right.
down and stuff like that.
Oh, no, copper is, used in houses, of course.
Yeah.
And copper's so expensive now that people steal the stuff. There's a
Right.
huge market. And when I'm sure it's the same in the US. People, thieves steal in houses under construction.
Dave, I
Steal
live in
the
Cleveland, of course.
Right, of course, okay.
So yeah, that was my former life. Like I said, I really didn't know much about the power side of stuff. I was just mostly interested in the HVDC stuff. I was doing instrumentation, so that's just really neat.
I'm curious to know if there's any installations in Australia at all, because off the top of my head, I'm not familiar with any high voltage DC transmission in Australia.
Let's see, undersea
but
cable schemes.
maybe we do.
They have
There's a
290
Wikipedia.
kilometer
Here we go.
Australian mainland
Wikipedia
and
has
Tasmania.
a list of HVDC projects.
Yeah, there you
Okay,
go.
so it goes from Tasmania, which
Yeah.
is
That's the island there,
which is the only underwater. Yeah, that's the island. So that's the only underwater
Right.
thing. Yeah, Australia and Oceania, New Zealand. Well, that's So there's a couple in New Zealand. There's one in Mullumbimby in Australia.
What's that?
Hi to all our listeners in Mullumbimby.
Yeah, right.
Or
if
one of you.
anyone's listening from whatever the hell that word was, you have to write in,
Yeah.
please.
Mullumbimby. Yep.
Mullumbimby.
I'm sure it's Aboriginal word for, It's
Place.
Aboriginal for Mullumbimby.
Yeah.
Mullumbimby. I can speak Aboriginal. It's okay.
Right.
We've got very few considering how big Australia is. From Red Cliffs to Berry. I've been to Berry. There you go. And there's one in Victoria, but to Tasmania. Okay, so there's one that goes under the water to Tassie, the Bass Link, the Murray Link, and the Yeah, so I only got 3.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, that's
Which
something,
is hardly
though, right? I
anything.
mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So.
And they tell you the type, IGBT.
Oh yeah. Okay. There we go. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So,
So
I
silicon
assume
carbide
that's
is
the
not one
switching. Supplier. Guess who the supplier is?
I don't know.
ABB.
Oh, okay.
It tells you in this. It tells you in this. Look, I'll send you this list.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, so a couple of them are IGBT, or insulated gate bipolar transistor, and the others are THYR, thyristor, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think so.
Thyristor-based switching. So there you go.
Right, the mercury arc, that's like isn't that the stuff that's inside of like a tube as well, like the super high voltage glass tube type stuff?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Don't quote us because we're talking out our ass.
We really
as usual.
are. Yeah, we're reading directly off Wikipedia right now, but it's just so cool to me. Like honestly, that's how cool it is. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's definitely worth looking into. And
Wow, China, Asia has a lot.
yeah.
Well,
you think I mean,
Asia's
there's
many countries in
you
Asia.
think about how many people there are, and just how disparate the cities are, right? And then when the power sources are, and it gets pretty intense pretty fast. You know, we talk about the scale of power, right? So you and I always laugh about when people are like, oh well, we're gonna generate reasonable power with piezoelectrics and stuff like that.
Yep.
But like to generate enough power for like the amount of people, like the 1 point however many billion people that are in China, and coming online in India as well. Like,
Yep.
you really need some friggin' power. You need to really, really have it. And they're
Right.
building nuclear plants, they're building coal plants, they're building whatever they need to, and they're going up fast.
Mm-hmm. And it probably has a lot to do with how much space you have, because like if you're going underground or undersea, you're likely using DC, right? Otherwise, the losses, I believe, are too large or something, But Australia is just the outback, There's just mass. So we just string in these huge big poles, these huge big towers or whatever they're called, and she'll be right, transmitted at 500 kV, no worries,
Right. Yeah. Right.
Just some, there's just some dingoes out there. No worries, Doesn't matter. All right.
Right.
But yeah, I can understand in these big populated, Europe and places like that, heavily populated China and other ones. Maybe they have to go underground or they've got to do something else, and just makes more sense. Some of these, they've got dates on them too. Some of them go back to like 1882. The first one was installed in Europe. Like,
well. And you start to, this is a lot of Tesla versus Edison again, right? And like it's not like either or. It's like, it's
interesting. There's
both.
a huge gap between like the 60s. Like they did it back in the early, like late 1800s, early 1900s, or, like the 40s, like the, 1940s or whatever. And then a couple in the 60s, and then basically nothing until like the 80s, late 80s, 90s,
right?
When the thyristor technology, because before that they used mercury, right?
Yeah, healthy.
So, yeah, great.
Almost as healthy as being near a, 800 kilovolt line.
And so it's modern, thyristor technology, insulated gate bipolar transistor. The first one there was 97. By the looks of it.
Yeah.
So, and then they've really rapidly increased in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So it looks like all this, as you say, this switching technology has come online, mostly from ABB and Siemens.
Yeah. Yeah, Siemens is the other big one too. So
yeah. Yep.
They're monoliths, right? And so I sent Dave a link as well, and the real thing to look at is some of the pictures of these switching facilities too, and like the labs where they have this stuff. And like,
that's just that.
It looks
Is
like
that
they're
a real switch-in? That looks like a test lab?
It is
like a
that is a
test
test lab. No, it says test lab.
I was gonna say, right.
But still, like, look at the. So basically, what we're looking at here is it looks like giant Tesla coils, right? Because they're they're off the ground. And if you look at the scale of humans too, like these are like probably 10 to 15 meters tall. Like pretty significant height to them, if not more.
Yep.
But yeah, that's how you do that stuff, I guess. I don't know. Like honestly, I look at this stuff and I'm just like, I don't understand. I don't.
It's from a different world, isn't it? It's from a different planet.
It's electrical versus electronic, right? This is like the thing we've talked about in the past.
That's the thing.
Right.
That's the thing. Yep. Totally different fields. And,
but that's why it's so interesting to me. And not what I was doing.
It's fascinating.
But, yeah.
I should go on like a tour of a of a power generation plant or something like that. I think that'd make for some interesting videos.
Oh, it definitely would. Yeah. Well, you did those.
Yeah.
What were those? You went to those. Oh no, those were radio tower things that when the TV
And
station
they were
shut
the
down.
radio. They were the TV station. Yeah, which was fascinating enough. Let alone step it up another huge level and go to power generation. You know, I might see if I can get in a dam, some local hydro dam or something.
Oh man! So did you go to Hoover? We talked about that when I visit there last.
I have been to Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
so cool. I mean, and like
Yeah,
that stuff.
It's great.
Unbelievable.
And of course, I dragged the wife along. She's just rolling her eyes.
Right.
And, it's just a dam,
Right.
And I'm just nerding out over all the all the technology, or just the sheer scale of the engineering,
Right.
Yeah, nerdgasm,
Yep.
Yep.
So what else should we talk about this week? We basically blew all of our time on talking about stuff we didn't know anything about. Like usual.
Yeah,
usual.
I know. Oh yeah.
Did you see
What else
this?
is new there?
Did you see this CAD thing, the drafting tool from the 70s?
No.
Oh my God, the diagram.
Oh, here we
This
go.
was sent to me on Twitter. Someone sent it to me joking that this is why KiCad's important, but it's this amazing thing from the 70s. Basically, it uses these, each schematic symbol is like a slide inside a projector. And kids, if you don't know what a projector is, it's where you shine light through a small transparency, usually the negative of a developed version of a negative at the same scale, and then you blow it up on a screen somewhere. Well, in this case, they do the same where they basically expose a resist. So they can overlay it, kind of like they kind of like steer it like you do with a electron beam. Right, so you're basically like inside an old CRT scope or CRT screen, and then basically you expose parts of this large screen, and then basically that makes I guess that's a negative
photo image.
Yeah, photo image.
Yeah,
that's what it's saying.
it makes a photo negative of but they're not making PCBs here. They're drafting schematics.
This is
They're
just schematics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is great.
Oh, it's amazing.
Rather than draw them by, so they've got a button for a transistor. So they press the transistor button, then you can move it over your sheet, and then you can rotate it, and then you can position it, and then you press the expose button, and then it exposes that symbol onto the film,
right.
And then you move it again. Oh, this is just
it's beautiful, and really it's like a typeset machine,
beautiful.
right? I mean, it's like each key is its own individualized thing, and if you need, so say you have a NPN and you need a Darlington, well, if it's not in your rack of 256 keys, you have to switch it out and then go swap out the slide.
I've got to tweet this.
Oh yeah, it's so good. And basically though, I mean, like you look at the size of this machine too, it's probably the size of like, a walk-in cooler. It's really, really big. It's like old 1970s equipment. So you can only imagine how much it costs. And this is just for schematics, folks.
This is just for schematics. And they're beautiful. And they come out beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh.
This is the cost of
wow.
Of not having draftsmen anymore.
Yeah. And I've got to wonder what the lifespan of that system was. How quickly was it obsoleted?
Yeah,
and
right,
by
exactly.
What? Because there's so much engineering. This is like going to the moon, right? This is, kind of like the engineering that goes into producing this CAD system is just ridiculous, And when was it obsolete? Did it have a 5-year lifespan and then something better came along?
Right. Well, and eventually someone's going to say, oh, well, we can tie this, with, I mean, basically this is 70s, right? So
yeah.
When was the first CAD system you used I mean, like I heard about early 80s stuff like DASICs and stuff like that, but there's stuff before that.
CAD was late 70s. There was actual computer-aided, actual real computers doing CAD. Not, this isn't really a computer. This is like manual. Yeah,
this is an operator driving. This is the machine
driving a mechanical computer, not an electronic computer.
Right.
Really.
Right.
I think it's more of a mechanical type.
You give it where the XY should go, and you imprint it, and
you've
then
got a joystick or whatever, and you've got a rollerboard joystick, and you move it around over the sheet, and then you press the expose button. How do you erase something like that? Because you're exposing film. So,
don't.
No, I put my transistor in upside down, scrap the film.
Yeah, you have to. That's the same thing, like right. This is the ultimate version of having a layout guy or a CAD guy, right? You didn't have just novices using this. There was the guy that ran the machine.
Pros. Yeah.
And he got in trouble every time he wasted film. But it's the same thing happened with Draftsman, right? I mean, like if you got all the way through a draft and then you spilled ink on something and you messed it up and you had to start over, it's the same, same cost.
Well, it's, back when I was doing CAD layout, this is before you were born, Mr. Gamble, CAD layout on film, right? You would stick down tape,
like sellotape, right?
You would have your light box. Yeah. You would stick down your tape, and you'd get all the way through your layout, and you'd go, oh, no, I can't get this trace from over here to over here.
Yeah.
And you might have to rip up half of it to try and get that one trace over if you're a bit of a perfectionist. Otherwise, you go, oh, just put a wire link in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll get in the next draft.
On the board. You're right. Yeah. That's it.
Well, and that's, this is where it's the art form, right? I mean, this is the same thing, and you sketch it before you put it to print. But
this is gorgeous.
I knew you'd love it.
This is called the Diagrammer.
Yeah, the
by
Mergenthaler.
Mergenthaler. Is that German or something?
Probably. Yeah, they were a typeset machine. They show the history too, going back from like the other stuff they did, where they were typesetters, and it probably seemed like a great new market for them, and then computers came along and they were screwed, right? I mean, this is...
Oops,
you think about,
and they're out of business overnight. Yeah.
Right, PCs being like the desktop publishing revolution, right? I'm actually reading
of course.
The Gershenfeld book right now, Fab, which is talking about desktop manufacturing machines, kind of the same thing, talking about 3D printers and CNCs and all that stuff. But basically, it's they talk about the same stuff, right? Personal computers allowed for personal publishing, and then the new stuff is personal making, and personal publishing basically killed typesetters, right? I mean, there's still some, especially at scale, but then it just kept whittling away. And
totally.
Someone at Mergenthaler got pissed, I bet. Especially the sales guy that probably got a nice $20,000 commission on selling one of these things,
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to know how much one of these systems cost.
Oh, it probably hundreds of thousands, right? I mean.
Probably, yeah. Like, these go into your huge companies. Like, your small companies would not have one of these.
Right.
They'd be drawing with pencil and paper.
Right.
This
they talked about having, in the video, too, they talk about having, like, mil-spec ready slides as well, right? So that kind of shows it as well, right? You have your Northrop Grumman is going to have beautiful schematics, right?
Right, exactly. Then you got to wonder how many of these systems they sold.
Yeah.
Like 1,000 systems tops.
I think the real question is, how can we get near one and see one?
Surely, I know.
Yeah.
I want one for like a teardown.
Right,
and,
sure. I bet there's a place in Cleveland called was it HRC? I've been there once. But it's basically just old industrial machines, and it's like going to a graveyard. And if it was one of those places, that would be there, But I bet it's hard to find one of these.
Well, if anyone knows, we're putting the call out. Does anyone know where you can see one of these, especially operational?
Dave will fly to America to see one.
I'll fly to America to see one.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is part of a bigger documentary as well, like Linotype, the film it's called. I haven't watched it yet, but it's all about, I think, the Mergenthaler stuff. So very interesting stuff.
Hey,
what?
Haymeg are gone.
Oh yeah, you posted this, right?
Or Hameg, or however you want to pronounce it. Haymeg.
I'm sure the Germans have something to say about how it's
Germans
pronounced.
will take me to task.
Yeah, right.
And there are. Not so much in the West here, right? They're not a huge name in the West, but in Europe, they're, almost number one. They're one of the big, huge names, especially in like the education market and the low cost, the really affordable test gear, Haymeg are, one of the world's best in that area, always have been.
So it was 6 months ago? I don't remember when it happened, when they got bought out.
Oh, no, they got bought out like 5 years ago or something.
No, I thought we announced it on here. No, it was.
No, Roden Schwartz. No, Roden Schwartz bought out Haymeg along.
Schmort. Sounds like your accountant bought him.
Use the Schwartz, Luke. Use the Schwartz.
Use the Schwartz. No, I'm looking come on, I'm looking Haymeg on okay, well, I was looking through old...
I think it was 5... No, it was 2005. They acquired them in 2005. Yep.
So now
and that was a sad day.
The slow slide into obscurity now, or what?
Well, this is the bizarre thing, right? They claim that no new product they design or manufacture will have the Haymeg logo on it. right? It'll have the Roden Schwartz logo.
Right.
Right? But they claim that Hey-Meg will still exist as a separate company and will still keep their brand. Huh?
Yeah,
How
this
does
is
that work?
probably some marketing guy trying to get his rocks off.
Yeah, right.
I have a plan, and here's what it is. Everything's the same logo. Bonuses for everyone, folks. Bonuses for everyone.
That's it. I don't get it. It's just, it's dumb. Yeah, and there's another link which I didn't put in, but somebody posted on the forum where this came from, and it is a link to the R&D manager or something at Roden Schwartz talking about this thing, right? Why they're actually doing it. And he's basically saying that they're doing it because Hey-Meg is not known in the West.
Okay.
So we're just not going to buy. Well, instead of doing this, I would have sacked your marketing people for the last 7 years or whatever. No, 9 years they've had to market Hey-Meg around, and they've failed. They've basically failed to market it internationally, and now they're going, oh, well, Hey-Meg's not known internationally, so we'll just get rid of the name and we'll put Roden Schwartz on there. I mean,
also, I have to say, guys, if Roden Schwartz are listening right now, at least if you want to, if you want to have a positive connotation in the West, don't name your scope the HMO 1002. HMOs have never had a positive connotation in the West because that was a terrible.
What's HMO?
It was like Health Medical Organization or something. It was this
really?
Yeah, this boondoggle of a way to get like where you could only go to a certain set of doctors and you could only go to like 4 or 5 doctors.
By West you're talking about America, land of the free.
Oh my God! Did you hear that thing where someone cut together all of you? Oh, it was Noah from last week. So Noah, he tweeted out a link of someone cutting together you saying "America" over and over and
I haven't
over
seen
again.
it.
Oh my God, it was so funny.
Really?
You say it the same way every single time, and it's terrible.
No way. No way.
Oh my God, it's so terrible, Dave.
I've got to see this.
I'll cut it into the outro as well. But the guy apparently.
Oh, okay, cool.
Apparently, this person every time you say a new one, he basically appends it to the end and he re-uploads it.
America.
Yeah.
There's a couple more.
Oh my God. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Dave pronounces America. Let's see if we can get Dave listening to it over and over and over again.
Here we go.
It's 30 seconds worth of America. The United States of America. Oh, it's terrible.
This is all from my mailbag video.
It's just from you. No, it's over and over. It's not just America. It's not just that. You do it all the time. You do it on this show, too. You need to cut in this stuff. Oh, boy.
Oh, this is great. I'm tweeting that. That's great.
Yeah. So
thank you very much, heroin worshipper.
So a sad day for Hey-Meg, but hopefully someone will pull their head out of their bum. Other things I wanted to mention before it falls off the map. We had talked to Mike a little bit about this when he was on the show last time, but we couldn't mention it yet. But they released the NSA playset. We had talked to Mike after the show about that. But basically, you know all those instruments the NSA that catalog from like 2009?
Which,
they're basically
Edward Snowden revealed.
Yeah, they're trying to reverse engineer and make them now. So
cool,
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I think Mike said they're going to probably take it to DEF CON. So there's a new scientist article about this, but they're going to take it to DEF CON, I think, and actually show it off, which is like the perfect place to show that off.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And
totally.
And I might get to go to that. I found out, and so I'm looking forward to that. Everything except August in Las Vegas sounds good.
Right.
So that's definitely worth checking out, though, because there was a lot of cool gear in there that would. Like I remember the radar stuff was specifically like where you ping like a microphone with a
high powered radar and it
bounces
returns.
it back.
So it doesn't have to have a battery or something. It just passively returns or something.
Right?
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it just modulates that high frequency signal. And bounces it back.
It just modulates it. Yep.
Yeah. So that's really
sweet.
Cool. And then I don't know if you got anything else, but I've also got other travel plans. I'm going to be in Detroit in 2 weeks from now. For the Red Bull competition. They're doing that Red Bull build competition again.
No, what's that?
They did it in New York
Building
last
what?
year. Basically, it's like a 48-hour hackathon, but like not
Right.
just with code. It's like welding, and I
Right,
don't know
okay,
what they're
yeah,
building,
right.
but it's supposed to be awesome. Like basically all these.
Right, so it's like one of those Junkyard Wars shows or something, is it?
Yeah. It's
Is that-
usually it's hacker spaces and like similar type of
Right.
groups that enter, and and it's fueled by Red Bull because it's supposed to be 48 hours straight of. I don't know. I have to
Right.
say, if the 45th hour and you got a freaking welding, you're trying to weld, it's
You're right.
it's
It's dangerous.
probably a bad idea. I'm just saying, I don't know. Maybe
Now,
they have
we-
spotters.
Now, we expect you, as the professional commentator and media reporter for this event, you must stay up for the complete 48 hours and
no way.
stream it live.
No way.
You're a wuss.
I know, total wuss. No, I like sleeping. I've been sick for 3 weeks, so I'm gonna start sleeping more. And but I will be going around Detroit, and if there's listeners in Detroit too, we'll be having meetups. I'm gonna be hanging out with the Hackaday guys again, and
Right.
and there's a ton. I mean, there's just so much old history up there in Detroit. You talk about. I might have to go find maybe I could find one of these Mergenthaler things up there too. Like
You're right. Hmm.
that would be sweet. But there's just a lot of broken down architecture and like stuff like that. It's coming back a little bit, but like there's a lot of crazy
Right.
stuff up there.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and find
Awesome.
that stuff. So I'm looking
Terrific.
forward to that. What else you got coming up?
Oh, I got more obstacle events.
Ooh, yeah.
Coming up?
I saw pictures of that. You
My-
look like you got pretty beat up.
Yeah. I got beat up. Yeah, my legs got I got rope burns and all sorts of things by doing this tough bloke competition.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Yeah, those do
Great
look
fun.
like fun. I have to say, I'm a little jealous that you're doing this in the dead of winter in Australia.
Yeah, in the middle of winter. Yeah,
Probably doing
it was a
something wrong
gorgeous
here in
day out there.
Cleveland.
Yep.
Damn.
Exactly.
Cleveland loses again.
Boy.
But you know what?
Yep.
At least we're not Detroit. I'm going to get my comeuppance for this one now.
Oh, I know.
All right, man. We'll talk to you next week.
Have fun. See ya. In the United States of America, and the United States of America, and from the United States of America, and the United States of America, in the United States of America, and America, made in America, they are made in America, made in the United States of America, made in the United States of America, USA.